the God-fearing father of 6, whose 11-year-old daughter just gave birth at home, explain to me why you were so shocked when they asked for your DNA. And it's been 2 days and the results are in, and come to find out, you are the father of your 11-year-old daughter's child that she just had to give birth at home because y'all wouldn't bring her to the hospital. Explain to me that. And I also want to know why people are defending the mother of this 11-year-old. Oh, because she's pregnant and is like a month behind her 11-year-old daughter in delivery, and she's about to give birth to her 7th child. Why do we feel bad for her? Because it is very clear that this man was doing whatever he wanted to whomever he wanted and didn't even wear protection because he really was sure he was never going to get caught until his oldest of his 6 currently living children who are out of the womb got pregnant with his child. And the neighbor was the one who was calling, not just because the kids and the animals, but like the entire situation she was concerned about. And no one actually intervened until the parents had to call 911 because they thought the 11-year-old was not going to survive delivering that child at home. Even the grandmother has said this doesn't make any sense. They're trying to make my daughter and son-in-law into monsters, and she has her own theories on who the father is, even though the DNA tests are conclusive. He is 99.9% the biological father of his 11-year-old daughter's child. She doesn't believe it. She thinks there's other things that are going on here. And the fact that she lives across the street from this, and they were saying these 6 kids, the 11-year-old was the oldest, all the other ones didn't have clothes. They didn't have clothes. The house was full of animal feces. What is your excuse? Did you never go into your daughter's house? Did you never see the state of those kids? For the last year that child has been pregnant, were you unaware that 11-year-old was pregnant? Also going to say you cannot defend anyone, even the grandmother, because no one ever sought medical care for this 11-year-old. Not only did they not ever bring her to the doctor to be checked out while she was pregnant, they pulled her from school so that not even the school authorities could intervene on behalf of this child. It is the most egregious thing to witness. And the fact that this man had the audacity to be shocked, why do you want my DNA?
Make it make sense to me that a woman and her husband were actually aware that their daughter was pregnant for her own husband. That is to say, the girl was pregnant for her own biological father. It's crazy. Watch these videos.
Her 11-year-old daughter delivered a full-term baby, unmedicated, alone in their home, and the mother and stepfather claimed that they had no idea she was pregnant. This is Cherry and Dustin Walker, and they're not the only ones in jail right now. Dustin's brother Alan is also in jail for an essay that occurred last November. So allegedly, the 11-year-old was not taken to the hospital until after they delivered this baby. She is a baby herself, and doctors obviously had many questions, so the police come and they get involved, and they also don't seem to believe the parents' story that they had no idea. So the cops start investigating further. There's 5 other children in the home, multiple pets. The house was left in deplorable conditions. They allegedly had no running water for 2 to 3 years. The place was completely trashed, and also the police found out that conveniently the child was being homeschooled during all of this. So the grandma defended the state of the home, saying, well, they have pets. She also claims that the father is a 12-year-old. However, police say that when they get this DNA back, they expect to add additional charges. Grandma said the both of them just love their kids so much. Now, like I said, Dustin's brother Alan, he's also in jail right now. In November 2024, a tip was called in that Alan had SA'd a minor under the age of 12 years old. He was booked in jail, given bond somehow. He fled the state, they brought him back to Oklahoma, and then he attempted to reconnect with the victim, which was a violation of his bond. So they took his bond away, and now he's back in jail. Sounds like to me that 3 people are exactly where they should be, in my opinion. As of now, all of the children have been removed from the home. I have no idea how the 11-year-old's doing. It was said that she's traumatized, and I can imagine so. Anyone who's ever had a baby unmedicated, can you imagine being a child going through that by yourself? I also hope they took the pets out of this home too. I will give an update when we get the DNA test results back. And if I can find a way to help the 11-year-old while keeping her anonymous, I will let you guys know, because she's going to need all the support.
Okay, so it pisses me off that this 11-year-old girl who almost died having a baby, having her father's baby, which could have been very much avoided because the neighbors had been calling the police for a long time. Neighbors have been calling 911, making reports of the deplorable conditions of the home, how many children were there, the conditions that they seen the children in, and the animals. The neighbors have been calling the fucking police, but the police never came and did anything until the parents of this 11-year-old girl had to call them to come and bring the fucking ambulance and save her fucking life because she gave birth to a baby at home at 11 years old. And then finally, when she gets to the fucking hospital and everybody, all the other adults that got some fucking mental capacity, they realize this isn't fucking right. This is an 11-year-old. And they try to come up with this story. Oh, it was some 12-year-old boy and blah, 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 lies, right? So the hospital immediately does the DNA test and then they subpoena the father's DNA for this fucking DNA test. And guess who's the fucking dad of this baby? Her father. I do want to throw in that I think it is his stepchild, but regardless, this is an 11-year-old girl that you have been raising for years. The mom is also pregnant right now. Oh, she's getting ready to be having her baby just a month away from this baby. This baby was just born and she's doing 1 month. So the dad was in this motherfucking house hunching on whoever he could fucking hunch on when the fuck he could hunch on him. And then another thing that pisses me off is we've gotten the DNA, and then the dad was wondering, oh, why do you guys want my DNA? This is what the dad is saying. Why? Oh, not me. I'm a good Christian man. Why do you want my fucking DNA? Because you're the pappy, and we know it. That's why. But what pisses me off is that the wife, her mom she is dead set on, my children didn't do this, not my daughter, not my son-in-law. You guys have it wrong. It was some 12-year-old boy, some mystery boy that don't nobody fucking know. Mind you, she's keeping this shit along. And the 11-year-old she almost fucking died during childbirth because she's fucking 11 and shouldn't be doing that shit in the first fucking place. On top of that, did I mention that the home is filthy? The home is so you had this 11-year-old girl giving birth to a baby in filth. They are so fucking neglectful. They got 6 other kids at the house. They're so fucking neglectful. The other kids don't even have clothes. And then they were trying to hide this shit to the point that they've been put the little girl out of school. She's never been to a prenatal appointment. She's never seen a fucking doctor for this fucking baby. Who knows what this baby is? Hopefully it's a healthy baby. I think it is, but it's just I don't know. It's just mouth dropping to me. It's mouth dropping to me that this shit went on. It's mouth dropping to me that neighbors were actually trying to do something and she could have had help and she would have been able to have her baby in a fucking hospital safely and had a safe delivery if the police would have showed up when the neighbors were fucking calling. Why didn't the police show up? I feel like when you charge this mom and dad for what happened with this child, the police need some sort of accountability too, because why the fuck weren't they showing up and doing anything? Why the fuck weren't they showing up and going in? Because I'm almost sure if the police would have fucking showed up and went inside of that fucking home and seen the condition that it was in and seen the children, what was fucking going on with the fucking children, and then out pops a fucking pregnant ass 11-year-old, I'm sure some sort of action would have been taken and the kids would have been taken out of that fucking home. And then again, she would have been able to have her fucking baby in a safe environment, a safe condition, and not almost fucking died trying to have this fucking man's baby.
Happy Sunday, my friends. There are 2 more arrests this afternoon, in what Janet Hudson, the assistant district attorney in Muskogee County, Oklahoma, is calling, quote, the most serious case she has ever prosecuted. So these 2 monsters right here are both in prison being held on $100,000 bail. There should be 0 bail if you want to know my honest opinion. And that is 34-year-old Dustin Walker and 33-year-old Sherry Walker. Now, they are both being charged with felony child neglect. That's what they were first charged with. And now they are charged with, Dustin is charged with SA of a minor, and Sherry is charged with enabling SA of a minor. Now, this comes after Sherry's 11-year-old daughter ended up at the hospital on August 16th after she gave birth to a baby, an 11-year-old, y'all. This 11-year-old had not had any prenatal care and had not seen a doctor in over a year. Now, her birth carrier said that she, as well as the other monster, said that they had no idea she was pregnant, that she was this really small, petite girl, but she wasn't showing, and she This was a complete surprise to them. Y'all, she was 36 weeks pregnant. She was full term when she gave birth to this baby. So another arrest, this is one of the 2 arrests I spoke about, has been made. This is the 11-year-old's grandmother, who actually lived with them part-time, Michelle Justice. She has been charged with 6 counts of child neglect. Now, there are actually interviews of this crazy-ass woman who, on the local news station saying, oh my God, this is such a surprise to us. Like, we had no idea. We had no idea that she was pregnant. Like, how do you not know an 11-year-old girl is pregnant? I'm sorry. She also goes on to these news interviews and says things like, people are saying things about our family that aren't true. We're this amazing family. Yes, maybe the house is, not that clean, but we do have dogs and cats who live in it. Shall we talk about that house for a minute? This is the house where that 11-year-old girl was living with those 2 monsters, along with 5 other children, okay? Multiple dogs and cats, okay? I heard 6 dogs. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard. Now, the other children were 9, 7, 6, 4, and 2. The door was being held together with a bungee cord, okay? Neighbors say there was no running water for several months. In addition, police say when they got to the house, the stench overwhelmed them. The house was filled with feces, and garbage, and those other children, all 5 of them, were naked, 0 clothes on. They said it was some of the most deplorable living conditions they have ever seen. So on top of the grandmother being arrested, they also arrested another neighbor whose name has not been released, and she has also been charged with the same thing as the grandmother, 6 counts of child neglect. Why? Because it says she was a caretaker. I don't know exactly what that means. I can't find that out anywhere. But that she saw this 11-year-old almost every single day, and saw that she was pregnant and talked to her about it, and in the whole 9 yards, and never once called Child Protective Services, never once called the police, nothing. This absolutely blows my mind. And again, you guys have heard me say that, the police, and there's so many different organizations that let children down, and there were so many, again, children who let not just her down, the 11-year-old, but all of her siblings. Cheryl Adkins, who is another neighbor, did an interview as well with the local media organization, and she said, I called the police and Child Protective Services so many times I lost track because of the dogs, because of the kids running wild, because the house smelled, because of this, that, and the other thing. And nothing was ever done. Nothing was ever done. Oh, and I failed to mention that the 11-year-old's baby, the DNA test proved 99.9% that the baby is the stepfather's, meaning that she had been SA'd for months. And she probably got pregnant when she was 10 years old, y'all. Now, the assistant district attorney also went on to say, quote, that this child is traumatified. She went through a horrific ordeal, giving birth at home with no medication, no medical support, no medical attention, and that she is going to be traumatized by this for the rest of her life. You think? That poor child, I can't. So like I said, these 2 monsters are being held in prison on $100,000 bail. Why they have bail said, I have no idea. They could spend the rest of their lives in jail, prison, whatever, which they should, if not worse. Y'all know how I feel about this. DP, this is a perfect example of why the DP is in play. But they go back to court on September 3rd, and I will, of course, keep you guys posted. This story makes me sick. Another story of another children being let down by basically everyone. So what do you guys think? Put your thoughts. Let's discuss. You know I love our discussions in the comments below.
Imagine being 11 years old, having to deliver a baby without any medical attention, any antibiotics, any pain medicine. Baby delivered by your mother and your stepfather. Only for the world to find out that the baby belongs to the stepdad. If you haven't heard the story yet about Sherry and Dustin Walker, the husband and wife who were arrested after this incident in Oklahoma, let's get into it. So Dustin and Sherry Walker were arrested for neglect after their 11-year-old gave birth to a full-term newborn at home without any medical attention. They ended up making the stepdad, take a DNA test, and the DNA results came back 99.9% match of being the father of this baby. Now Dustin, the stepdad, is charged with SA, and the mother is charged with enabling it. They're set to go to court on September the 3rd, and both are looking at life sentences, which they should get. The only reason that they called the 911 is because they thought the little girl was going to die while she was giving birth. It was other kids living in the house as well. I think 6 kids. They were living in filthy conditions with garbage and feces all over. The kids had no clothes. They had pulled the kids out of school. And then the mother lived across the street from them. She tried to blame it on the 12-year-old that was living in the house, but the DNA says otherwise. But get this, the wife, the mother, she's 35 weeks pregnant herself. So she's scheduled to have a baby right after her daughter then just had a baby. And she said she didn't ever know that the girl was pregnant. How you didn't know that girl was pregnant? How you couldn't tell an 11-year-old was pregnant? Come on now. And these supposed to be Christian people. This is why they okay with supporting pedos, because they are pedos themselves. Thank God all the other kids have been removed from the house. And they should be in jail and be locked up under it. If y'all haven't heard the story about Sherry and Dustin Walker and the stepfather getting the 11-year-old girl pregnant and her having a full-term baby and DNA showing that it is the stepdad's baby, y'all go look it up. It's disgusting. Like, share, comment, and repost.
So you're telling me you got your 10-year-old daughter pregnant. She has a baby at 11. The mom is pregnant as well, but she does nothing about it and take the child out of school. That's your solution. And you're shocked when the police ask for a DNA test because you are the father. Disgusting. The mom, the grandmother, the dad or stepdad, whoever he is, should all be under the prison because all of you feel this little child like she's a baby. If she's having a baby at 11, that means you got her pregnant when she was 10. And who knows how much longer you were intimate with her.
So the DNA results are back, and Dustin, the stepdaddy, is in fact the father. Yeah, talking about we didn't know she was pregnant. Yes, y'all did. Y'all absolutely knew that baby was pregnant because y'all allowed her to get pregnant by her doggone stepdaddy, who probably only married you, Sherry, just so he could get your doggone child up in the bedroom and do what he needs to do. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely freaking disgusting that you let him do this to your child. Who, child, underneath the jail? Go ahead and start digging them graves now. Underneath. There's no other place for you. Underneath. So they have now charged him, upgraded them charges, absolutely, with child sexual abuse of someone under the age of 12. They also went ahead and updated Sherry's charges, as they should, for enabling child sexual abuse behavior. Yes, go ahead and upgrade them. Add anything additional if I can find something else to add on this doggone shenanigans. This is the most disgusting behavior ever. That you allowed the man that you said, I said I do, and you allowed him to be doing this to your child? My heart goes out to this baby that is 11 years old. They have not given an update on her, so I'm not sure if she's with the grandmother, Michelle, or if she's in the system or what. I'm not sure of that status at this time. Please keep that little 11-year-old in your thoughts and prayers. She does have other additional siblings. I'm not sure if she's the oldest or if she's in the midst of the age group of the other children. I'm not sure. But just keep them in your thoughts at this time as they are trying to process what the heck is going on. Because this is a lot for children. This is a lot going on for children. Both your parents are taken into custody. You don't know what's going on with that. And then your sister had a baby that was 11 years old. And she was getting abused by the stepfather. And you probably heard something and didn't know what you was hearing. So this is a lot on children. So just keep them in your thoughts at this time. If you put your bet on him, it was accurate. He the doggone pappy. He the doggone pappy. Just nasty.
You guys remember that 11-year-old girl from Oklahoma who was forced to give birth at home to her stepfather's baby? Well, there has been a major development. The woman behind me is her grandmother, Michelle Justice, and she has just been arrested and is currently in the Muskogee County Jail facing 6 counts of child neglect. According to the affidavit, the grandmother knew about the pregnancy and failed to report it. She lived right across the street, y'all. Saw this child almost daily, even the very day that she gave birth, and she was also a caretaker for the 5 other siblings. These charges cover all of the children who were in her care. But it doesn't stop there, because not only did she stay silent, when questions started coming, she flat out lied. She even tried to blame the pregnancy on a 12-year-old boy, calling it, "That's just kids being kids." And authorities didn't buy it then, and now we know why. This arrest follows Dustin and Sherry Walker, the couple who had custody of the girl, the mom and stepdad. Dustin is already facing charges for SAing her, Sherry permitting it, and both are still being held on a $100,000 bond. And don't forget how this all came to light. Back in August, early August, that 11-year-old girl gave birth inside a home with no running water. Neighbors described it as unfit for children, feces everywhere, basically calling it a squalor. Doctors stepped in, police were called, and DNA confirmed the stepfather was the father of this baby. Now, with the grandmother's arrest, it is clear this child wasn't just failed once. She was surrounded by adults who either participated in the abuse or chose to look the other way, actively failing her. This is exactly how abuse thrives, in silence and secrecy, when the people who should protect children choose not to. Every single one of them is complicit. Now, do you guys think the system is finally catching up to everyone who enabled this, or do you think there might still be some people out there who need to be charged? Drop your thoughts below. Follow for updates. This case is not going to fade away. We're not going to let it. This kind of stuff needs to stop.
How do you think your granddaughter got pregnant?
She keeps telling us that it was a little 12-year-old boy that I used to keep.
Let's get one thing straight. Grandma knew that 11-year-old was pregnant. Mom knew she was pregnant. And the stepdad, father of the child, knew she was pregnant. And mind you, this child, 11 years old when she gave birth, means that she was 10 when she got pregnant. Initially, she had told the parents that it was a 12-year-old boy that grandma used to babysit that had gotten her pregnant. But then she came clean and told authorities the truth, especially after police officers came in and gave the father a DNA test, which he was shocked. What are you looking at me for? That baby gave birth at home. Her mom helped deliver the baby without any medicine. The pain that this child has gone through to deliver a full-term baby. But to add insult to injury, mom and daughter were pregnant at the same time by the same man. Yeah, mom is 35 weeks pregnant right now. She's about to give birth to her 7th child. No need to worry though, because all kids have been removed from the home. Child Protective Services took every one of those kids, and thank God, because those kids have a chance to have a normal life after this. What is happening in Oklahoma? I think the 11-year-old child's baby has been taken away as well and is in the state custody. And now here's my question. Should she be raising her child since it was no fault of her own? Or should she be given the option to give the baby up for adoption so she can have a somewhat normal life? I mean, she is a victim after all. Let me know in the comments.
They keep saying that we knew about my granddaughter's pregnancy, and we did not. We didn't know this was happening. None of us.
In my last video about this case, several people noted how this grandma's fake crying was so similar to how baby Emmanuel Harrow's mother was also crying without any tears. It turns out that 2 News Oklahoma reported that the grandmother, Michelle Justice, has been charged with 6 counts of child neglect. As you remember, the neighbor was also interviewed and said that 6 children lived with several pets and had been living without water for over 3 years.
They have no running water for the last 2 or 3 years. They have dogs in the house. They have cats in the house. 6 children.
Assistant District Attorney Janet Houston told 2 News that DNA testing revealed a 99% certainty Dustin Walker, the 11-year-old stepfather, is also the baby's father. WKRC reported that after the DNA results were returned, Dustin was charged with essaying a child under 12, and Sherry was charged with enabling child essay atop the criminal child neglect charges they were already facing. As you may recall, on August 16th, the Muskogee Police Department responded to a hospital in reference to a child who had given birth about an hour earlier at her home. The stepfather, Dustin Walker, is 34, and the mother, Sherry Walker, is 33, who were both arrested after their 11-year-old daughter gave birth without any medical attention and had not been seen by a doctor for over a year. They had been charged each with 1 count of child neglect because of the pregnancy and birth itself, but also the lack of running water and the conditions of the home.
So you telling me this man got his 11-year-old daughter pregnant with his wife and then had the baby at home, pulled her out of school so there'll be no suspicion of her being pregnant. The mom delivered the baby, so the mom knew exactly who baby this was, because there's no way that the mama ain't know. Granted, the mama 30 weeks pregnant. And then they had to call 911 because her body was too small to even be having a child. So she had to go to the emergency room because things went left. Not to mention, nobody would have ever known having things went left. And they did not believe the story of her getting pregnant by a 12-year-old boy. So they did a DNA test and found out that she was pregnant by her own freaking daddy. And it's not even her dad, it's her stepdad at that. These mamas be in on this. I'm telling y'all, they be marrying these nasty, wicked men and allowing their daughters to get assaulted by these men to please a man. Because there's no way I would sit up in a house, even if I did not know that was going on. There's no way I would sit up in a house deliver my 11-year-old child's baby while I'm pregnant by my husband, who also has my child pregnant. There's just no way. There's just no way. There's no way. Yeah, the police would have found more than just a pregnant 11-year-old at that home.
When I came across this true crime story, I was shocked. I'm like, how do these things happen? Like, I don't understand it. You see, if the whole abortion stuff was there, they would have hidden to do the abortion, right? They would have gone to abort this baby. But knowing fully well that there is an abortion law in America right now, it will make a whole lot of this crimes like this not to even go through. Because how do you even explain it? First of all, she's minor, she's underaged, and then who is even the father of the child? Her daddy. Here you go. It's crazy. That is a serious white on white crime. I'm sorry, I don't want to joke, but that is, to be honest, now I don't even want to laugh about it, but it's bad. And the mother of the girl is pregnant. At the same time, her daughter is pregnant. What kind of a horrible husband did you get married to? And the grandma was saying that she wasn't even aware that the girl was pregnant. Now, when they found out, they asked her, and she said her 12-year-old boyfriend got her pregnant. Can you imagine? Did you just hear that senseless grandmother? That lying grandma? That's so crazy. Honestly, when I watched this video, I felt so bad. A little girl who was supposed to be under her parents' care, a little girl SA'd in her own home by someone she trusts so much, and she was made to go through the whole pains, push this baby herself without painkillers, and her mother actually delivered the baby. These people are meant to rot in jail. And trust me, the man denied it at first, that he didn't know anything about it, until the DNA test proved that he is the biological father of his daughter's baby. What do you think will happen in this case? Do you think that child will be allowed to stay with the child, with the girl? Do you think the child will be given out to a foster family or something? What do you think? How do these things work in America? Please let me know, because I'm from Africa. I want to understand. How do these things fly? Who is going to be responsible for that child? Will the government take care of the child? How is this thing going to happen? Because yes, understood now that the father, the mother, the grandmother have all been sentenced, right? But what will be the fate of that child? And the baby, what do you think will happen? Let me see your thoughts in the comments, and do not forget, it's always Global Gist with BJ, your friend, your sister. I'll be back with another one next time. See you. Bye, guys.